In African tradition, they say a child does not grow in a single home. A child grows in the arms of a village. But no one truly understood this until the day a crying baby was found at the edge of the forest, wrapped in torn cloth, abandoned beneath an iroko tree. No one knew who the child belonged to. No markings, no message, only a faint cry fighting the night wind. Some villagers feared he was a bad omen. Others said the ancestors had sent him as a test. A few wanted to leave him where he was found, believing fate should decide his future. But an old woman named Manuru, bent with age and wisdom, knelt beside the child. She touched his forehead and whispered, "This one is not lost. He is waiting." And just like that, the village made a decision that would change its destiny forever. They named the boy Tamba, meaning the one who arrived quietly. Tamba grew without knowing a mother's face or a father's voice. Instead, he grew surrounded by many hands. One woman nursed him. Another carried him to the river. The blacksmith watched him while shaping iron. The farmers let him sleep beneath the shade of tall maize. The storyteller became his nighttime voice, filling his ears with tales of heroes, ancestors, and forgotten kings. But growing up without parents is never easy. As Tamba grew older, he began to notice the silence when other children ran to their mothers. He felt the ache when fathers lifted sons onto their shoulders. Some boys mocked him, calling him the child of nobody. At night, Tamba would sit alone and ask the stars questions no child should have to ask. Who do I belong to? Why did no one choose me? One evening, Manuru found him crying behind the huts. She sat beside him and said something that would follow him for the rest of his life. You belong to everyone, and that is heavier than belonging to one. Years passed, and the village began to change. Drought came. Crops failed. Traders stopped visiting. Hunger crept into homes like a silent thief. Then came worse news. An ambitious neighboring chief wanted their land. He claimed the village was weak, divided, and leaderless. Explorers arrived. Then soldiers. Fear spread. The elders argued. Some wanted to flee. Others wanted to fight. But no one could agree. And then, something unexpected happened. Tamba, now a young man, stood up during the village council. People were shocked. He had no title, no lineage, no bloodline connected to the throne. Who was he to speak? But when he spoke, the village went silent. He spoke with the wisdom of the elders who raised him, with the courage of the hunters who trained him, with the patience of farmers who taught him seasons and timing, with the calm of Manuru's voice echoing in his chest. This village raised me when no one else would, he said. If we are divided, I fall. If we stand together, I rise. And if I rise, we all rise. Some laughed, some doubted, but something in his voice stirred the people. Tamba did not promise war. He did not promise victory. He promised unity. He organized the farmers to protect food stores. The women became messengers and strategists. The youth learned discipline, not violence. Elders shared old defense methods long forgotten. When the rival chief finally attacked, he expected chaos. Instead, he found a village that moved like one body. No unnecessary bloodshed. No panic. No betrayal. The attack failed. Word spread quickly. That village is led by a man with no parents, but 1,000 teachers. Years later, Tamba became a respected leader, not because he was crowned, but because he was trusted. When asked who his family was, he would smile and gesture to the people. I am because we are. When Manuru died, the entire village mourned. At her burial, Tamba spoke through tears. A village raised a child, and that child became its shield. And from that day on, whenever a child was orphaned, abandoned, or forgotten, the village remembered Tamba and opened its arms wider. Because they learned something powerful. A child raised by love becomes a leader. A child raised by a village becomes a legacy. And that is how one abandoned child proved that African culture is not built on blood alone, but on community, responsibility, and shared humanity.